Hello, so I'm Academic Bean and I've done a lot of exams on my way to getting a PhD. So I've done GCSE, A-level and also university exams. So along the way I've learned a lot of different tricks and I'm going to share them with you today. Some of them are things you can kind of actually do and kind of strategies, and some of them are just general advice that I have about revision. So the first one I can go with is the one thing I really want people to take away: practice questions. So practice questions are going to allow you to get the best idea of what you know and what you don't. The strategy I would suggest is start with a whole past paper, then whatever questions you get wrong, get 3 questions of the same style, either from other past papers or maybe a worksheet that you've been given in class. Attempt one of these questions open book, with the mark scheme alongside, and try and make it into this perfect answer. The next step that you're going to do is try the second one without the mark scheme, maybe a couple of glances at your notes if you need to, see how you get along with that, maybe reflect on the mark scheme afterwards when you're marking it, and then with the final one you're going to do it again in exam conditions. So the way to tell whether or not you're kind of getting a question wrong, it may be different if it's something which was worth a lot of marks. I think a good rule of thumb is if you're getting less than 50% of the marks on that question, to go through this process of doing 3 questions on the same topic. So what you're going to find with this is it's going to really improve your confidence in attempting these questions, because you will have seen the same type of question multiple times. So then when you see it in the exam, you'll be able to go, okay, when I was attempting it with the mark scheme, this is what the mark scheme said, so you're going to have an understanding of that. Then you're going to be able to work through the process again. The next step that I've got is divide and conquer. So maybe you're at GCSE level and you've got lots of topics, or maybe when you're looking at this past paper, you found that you've got most of it wrong. That's okay, you're in revision for a reason. Start by picking a section of the paper, so that might be you want to work on the first 5 1-mark starter question. So focus on succeeding and getting those marks. So if there's 100 marks in the paper and 50 of them are always on a similar topic, you might want to get good at that topic. So what you're going to do is you're going to break into these chunks and work on getting those marks, so the next time you do a past paper you can kind of count on those marks being. If you're getting nervous about the exams coming up, it can be really easy to start spiral and it can start to affect how well you're doing, even in revision. So try to remember that the point of revision is to get things wrong, and getting things wrong is a part of the process. If you were getting 100% without revision, then the revision is somewhat pointless because you know the content. It's there to help you. It's not there to make you feel like you're doing badly. So try and keep a positive mindset and try your best each time that you're attempting a revision question, and you will be able to get more done. Especially if you're minimizing the time that you actually spend worrying about the exam. One thing it can be helpful to do is try to set a time where you're going to worry about the exams and when you're going to actually focus on revision, so that it doesn't cloud your thoughts while you're actually revising. The next one is kind of important, so budgeting your time. Whether or not you have 10 weeks or an hour before the exam, understanding how you want to spend that time can be very important. It might be that you need to read the literature if you're doing maybe an English Lit or an English language exam. Maybe you need to familiarise yourself with the historical context if it's a history exam. There are a lot of different things that you might need to have done before you come up to the exam. So if you've got 10 weeks, that can feel like a lot of time. But if you think about the other commitments you might have, it could end up being only an hour or 2 per week. So coming up with a plan that kind of lists out, this is what you need to get done, this is the amount of time you've got to do it, can help when you're actually in that time, because you go, okay, if I don't do it now, there isn't any other time to do it. So you might be able to put off some procrastination, you might be able to get more done because you've got a plan, you've got a focus. And if you're running ahead of schedule, then that's great, you get more time to have a break. If you are in the position where you're revising the night before, you've not touched it for whatever reason, or maybe it's even the morning of the exam and you've not touched any of the revision materials, what I would suggest is, if you have time, do a past paper, so you're at least familiar with what, do that past paper and mark it. There's no point in doing a past paper if you don't mark it. Then look for where the majority of the marks fall. Is there a section that you can quickly revise so that you can secure 6 or 8 marks? Revise as many core topics as you have time for, and review any notes that you have. So you're going to try and focus on the key bits. Try not to be kind of completionist. If you wanted to be completionist, you needed to not leave it till the night before. You need to fix on a couple of topics and get those as good as you can, and accept that you're probably going to lose some marks. Depending on where you are with your past paper revision, it might be that you got, 80%, in which case you can just focus your time on that 20% and you should be alright. So then a couple of specific bits of examples and advice for specific age levels and kind of tiers of exam. So GCSE exams. A lot of the exam questions are going to be about remembering different facts, applying them, and there's normally pretty good revision guides to help you through the process. So I would say invest in a revision guide, not necessarily for all subjects, but if there's one which you want to do at A level, you want to ensure that you succeed at, get the revision guide for that one. I think the science revision guides are particularly good. Next one, A level, normally tests you on a collection of techniques, so they're going to be slightly longer answers, slightly more challenging than what you will have seen at GCSE. But if you learn all of these techniques, there's not normally any surprises at A level and there's normally less spread of content compared to GCSE. So you might be able to just focus in on the topic a lot more easily. University is going to vary a lot. Go by the past papers that you've got access to, and also you'll normally have done courseworks, go by them, see what type of revision is going to work best for that exam. Even across the single subject, it will vary a lot. There might be, a calculation heavy exam or a written essay. It can be very, very different. So is there a lot of fact recall? Do you need to practice longer written answers? Is it calculation heavy? Have an idea of what's actually expected of you in this exam, and whether you know the content and how to apply it. The next one can be quite tough, especially for GCSE students. Are your friends really helping you? So if you're getting together to revise, and especially as it gets closer to the exam date, think about whether you need to spend time on your own revising, and whether your friends are actually helping. You can spend all your hours working on flashcards, but if you're not seeing a benefit from it, it can be time to step away. And that's not a personal attack on your friends. That's just maybe revision in a groups isn't something that works for you. Also think about things like music or having YouTube on in the background. Most of the time this is not going to be helpful and it will be a distraction. There's going to be cases where music is going to be less of a distraction than the other noises around you, especially if you have young siblings that are screaming. So kind of think about it carefully. If you've got already a quiet house and you're already at peace, maybe adding in some music or a YouTube video is not going to be very helpful, and it's going to actually set you off track. The final tip I have is set timers and pencil in your breaks. So you're going to maybe want to do 30 minutes of revision, then a 5-minute break, or maybe you want to do 50 and then a 10-minute break. Whatever it is that you're going to do, kind of think of a structure and stick to it, and kind of be quite strict with yourself. Also, it can be, if you're at GCSE and still living at home, you might find it helpful to schedule revision around when you know you're going to be interrupted. So if every day your tea is at 6, don't start revising at 5 to 6 so that immediately you're going to have that broken out of you. I hope that these tips have helped. Good luck with any exams that you've got coming up. Best of luck. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.